Good evening, everyone. It's Monday night, and welcome to the Tilton Talk show, sponsored by Small Affordable Cars. I'm Paul Hipkiss, and tonight we're joined by Mr. Road, Mark Adams.
Good evening, everybody.
All the way from the USA, doing his best impression of Wayne Rooney, he's Mark Meredith.
Evening all.
Craig Courtney.
Good evening all.
Alan Watton.
Good evening.
Chris Browne.
Good evening.
And saving the best till last, Claire Giblin.
Good evening.
You know, how to say the right things, don't I?
So there's only one place to start. I want to wish King Charles a speedy recovery after he's been recently, in the last sort of few hours or so, diagnosed with prostate cancer. So I'm sure I speak for everyone here when we want to send our best wishes and wish him a speedy recovery and all the best.
Yeah.
So start us off then, Rob. You was there, weren't you, Saturday? Obviously, we narrowly lose the game 1-0. And from what I saw, I was too busy bopping to Gok Wan, as you all know. So I'll hand over to you and Claire to talk us through the day and the game and everything. Just give us your thoughts.
Cheers, Paul. I thought we looked really comfortable for most of the game, to be fair. I mean, I'm surprised Albion are in the top six if that's the level of performance. They look so average. They were there for the taking. Game-wise, their support was, when Claire will back me up on this, their support was silent virtually. They didn't seem to have a lot to get excited about. We looked really comfortable first half. I think Pritchard he only played a half, but he was my man of the match. It's just getting the ball in the back of the net. It's just, we're crying out for a striker now. Even when we had the chance where Long, hit the post second half and it sort of rolled across the goal mouth, there's no one with that killer instinct, and that kind of summed it up. There's nobody there to just dive in or to just get on the end of it. And we just 2/3 of the pitch we look good, but it's just the final third. Dembele's decision making was terrible at times, and it's sod's law. They go and break, and that man, I'm not going to say his name, but he's the one who ended up scoring the winner. But loads of positives. I think it's only a matter of time before we do really click and we do sort of beat someone convincingly, which. I think we'll do that on Friday. I'm convinced we'll win on Friday, to be fair. It was just a good performance, just disappointing that that final third, we don't look threatening at all. I mean... Yeah,
that's why forward players cost the most money, isn't it, Mark? Because they put the ball in the back of the games. And
exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. But loads of positive.
Yeah. Claire, how was your day?
It was a really good day, to be fair. We got there quite early. Thank you to the cricket club who let us in, even though they didn't want away fans in because of obviously what happened the week before. Went down there, obviously met Robe. So Robe stood next to me and actually had a quiet game next to me. I don't think it was. He heard me in full voice. I know that a lot of West Brom fans said that we were some of the loudest support that they've had. They were really quiet. I couldn't believe how quiet they were for an actual derby. They only woke up when they scored. I think it's saying what Robe said. I think they weren't the best team we've played this season. I'm surprised they're that high up. We just lacked that clinical finish, that somebody to unlock the door. I thought the subs were a bit strange as well. I knew Buchanan was on a yellow and they did attack down the wings as well. But bringing Bakun on at right back was a bit of a strange one. But Pritchard was brilliant. I can't wait to see him carry on playing in a blue shirt. I thought Miyoshi had a good game. Jay was a bit quiet. But the first half, you were like 0-0, we'll go in and then we'll see what happens. And all of a sudden, Pritchard gets taken off at half-time, which obviously we know it's a calf strain now. But that was a bit of a strange one. But that Sung Ho was quite good, actually. He impressed me as well. We were lucky. We were really good on corners. That's one thing that we beat them all day long on corners. I just think we could have played it on the floor a bit more. They were massive. They were such a tall team. And me and Rowe kept saying, we're just launching it up to Pritchard, who's about 5'4". You got Miyoshi, who's tiny as well. So we lack the height. But they scored a goal against the run of play. And then obviously we had the incidences with Bakuna, but him at the end coming over to clap us nearly caused a riot in the Blues end. I'm surprised that he didn't get a booking or anything. So fair play to Laird, who pushed him out the way, to be honest, because we were stood there and all of a sudden there was about 100 fans just came bombing down by us. But yeah, it's a shame, really. I was really expecting something, but I think it's a must-win on Friday, and I think we can beat them, but we need to win against Sheffield Wednesday and Blackburn, because all of a sudden we are creeping slowly lower down. And it's not
I think we've got to defend properly as well, haven't we? Well, the goals that we've conceded in the last 2 games, we conceded 4, and I think all of them are pretty avoidable, to be honest. You got to close the man down crossing the ball, and it happened at Leicester, and it happened again on Saturday, and you get the wrong side of your man then as well when the ball comes in, then he's got an opportunity to finish, and that's exactly what happened on with Vardy's header at Leicester and on Saturday as well. So but yeah, Craig, give us your thoughts, mate. And just before you do, obviously, you mentioned Juninho Bacuna there as well, Claire, and in the stadium, obviously. Did you see much of what was going on with that at the time, or,
all of a sudden it stopped. Yeah, all of a sudden it stopped. So where all the hassle was for the Wolves fans, it came from over that way. And all of a sudden, Bacuna called the referee over and it stopped for about 5 minutes, was it, Robe? And they were talking.
Yeah, it was good 5 minutes.
And we knew straight away something could happen, and his whole demeanour dropped.
Yeah.
At the end, I genuinely thought he was going to cry, and he just looked straight at the Blues fans and just clapped. But his face, he was glazed. He wasn't nice to see at all. And it's second time now; it's just not good enough.
No, it's an absolute disgrace, and it needs to be clamped down on now. They need to do something more to try and stop it, because anyone with that mindset going to a football match, if they've got any intention of doing anything like that, then as far as I'm concerned, they should be banned for life.
Well, West Brom are the main people for black players. If you look in their history, and if you look how many black players that they've got playing for them, it does not make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Can I just say, because I watched it on television, I got a close-up what was going on the touchline. And basically, the chief steward, who they called, didn't want to know. He just kept looking and going, no. And Bacuna was pointing the bloke out. He kept going, him there with the glasses. And they didn't want to do anything. They just, and the commentators, which we'll probably go on to a bit later on, they said, right, he's making a fuss over nothing. If anybody said anything like that, the Albion fans would have heard it. Well, I did hear it. They didn't do anything about it. I mean, it was dealt with very, very badly, and he got very upset because he kept saying, "It's him there. That's the guy." And they just stared at him if he'd gone mad. And you're right, it did take a long time, and we never got that time back at the end of the game. And as for that Villa idiot going over to our lot, I mean, he should have been red carded for that and banned for a month, because that is ludicrous, absolute lunacy. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. No, you could potentially entice a riot doing stuff like that. And what happened in that stadium the week before as well? You'd think he had a bit of a brain between his ears, wouldn't you?
Well, he used to play for the Villa, so are you surprised?
No.
Sorry.
Anyway, Craig, over to you, mate.
I mean, firstly, just to echo what Watto said there, I watched it as well, and yes, there was an element, I would even go as far as saying an element of covering up. They didn't want it to be heard and thought about coming from the club. We wholeheartedly, as does everybody else, back Bacuna. Racism should be nowhere near the sport. It's rife at the moment, and it has to stop.
Yeah.
But there are many other things from that day that, stood out. I mean, firstly, I thought it was the most dull and boring game probably this season that I have seen. Yeah. Could quite easily have fell asleep during the first half. Second half picked up, but I think that was because actually we had two sets of players that decided they were going to put the foot in a little bit rather than trying to dance around each other, as you saw in the first half. I thought it was one mistake that let us down, but again, it's one mistake that's cost us. Bielik did lose his man. He did hold his hands up, and say it. So I applaud them for saying I've made the mistake, but they've got to cut them out, because they are costing us.
Yeah, 100%.
in terms of the rest of it, yes, Pritchard showed some fantastic touches, and I tell you what, I was talking to somebody earlier on and saying that boy can whip the ball, and his crossing was superb. And what I'd like to see actually is Djukovic on the pitch when he's whipping those balls in, because if he can put this at a pinpoint accuracy, we're going to put him away constantly because they were just superb. He also didn't stop putting his foot in. He wasn't afraid to having a go. And that actually G'd up quite a few of the others. I think he brought a few along with it. My man of the match was actually our loanee from QPR. I thought he was superb. His passing was just second to none throughout the whole of the game. And I just thought, he's really, really beginning to shine. And I think the more we have them together, the better things are going to be. Overall, though, I was disappointed. Then I just look at it and think, I agree with Mark. How they're in the top six, and if they stay in the top six the way they're playing, they've got absolutely no chance. There'll be a better team that will come into there and take over. But they didn't show too much for me. We showed enough that I think on Friday we'll get a result up at Hillsborough. And on that front, the club get another 1,400 tickets today.
Yeah.
So it's going to take our following to just shy of 3,500 if we sell all those, which I think we will.
Yeah.
So it'd be phenomenal. Friday night on the TV and 3,500 back in your TV.
It's not the cheapest place to go to either.
No.
Never has been.
No, never has been. No.
Over to Mark Meredith in Dallas, mate. Give us your thoughts, and I presume you watched the game, did you?
Yeah, I did. I watched it on the TV, and again, I echo everybody else's thoughts on it. It wasn't a superb game. It wasn't one for the eye, really. But I think I just came away disappointed a little bit. It was not disappointed in the effort and the ability of the players like we have done in the past. I think it was more disappointment because it was there to take and win. And the big thing for us now, I think we've missed a massive gap again in January by not getting a striker in, because as we've seen in the last 4, 5, 6 years, is we're struggling down at the bottom on relegation fights because we don't win games that are maybe there to be won. We don't have a prolific goal scorer in the team, and then the mistakes we do make, the 1 or 2 a game, get punished. To be fair to West Browne, they didn't have a very good game. They punished a mistake from us. They get themselves a goal. They go and win the game. That's how you do it. That's how the promotion teams do it. You scrap and you get your 3 points. Craig totally beat me to it on the Dizal one. I thought the Dizal was a real shining point. You watch him on the field. He wants to get around. He's everywhere the ball is. He wants to have it, which is great. Seems like he's full of confidence. His passing's great. His final pass maybe a little bit, let him down a little bit a couple of times just with that through ball. That's something that I'm sure will come. But again, it was one of those. It was marred by the racism incident at the end, just obviously after they scored their goal. And then we just didn't have that time at the end, I think, to get an equaliser. We were very unlucky with Long's shot off the post, which, in another day, and if you live 10 minutes down the road from us, it seems that goes in off 10 players. For us, it's, a whisker of the paint on the post before, and it goes straight into the goalkeeper's hands. So a little bit of luck there. Could have been a little bit different, but, we certainly are showing a lot more confidence and drive within Mowbray's team. But again, results on the field is what's going to be the clear point going into the end of the season. I just hope we can start to pick up points when we need to and get ourselves away, because it gets to the stage again that we don't come away too frustrated about Saturday. But with QPR winning as well, it's 4 points again, and, it keeps you on your shoulders all the time. So I think it's just about getting a few wins under our belt and really looking, at the middle half of the league and not the bottom like we have done for the last couple of years.
For me, going back on Dizal, I think it looks like QPR's loss there is our gain so far. And if the shoe was on the other foot there and we were sending one of our players out to QPR to make them better, I wouldn't be very happy about that, would you?
QPR's blogs have all said that they think he's a great player, but they've never got anything out of him. They've never got the best out of him. So maybe I mean, I wasn't as impressed as perhaps you were, because he wasn't in the game enough. But let's hope, coming into our team, he finds his best form. He obviously has got some ability, but it's what all our players lack is effectiveness. We play some decent football, but we can't finish it off, and we're not effective. Now, where there was criticism of Dembele, which I understand, but he was the one that was trying to create something, but in the end was ineffective. He'd beat one or two players, he wouldn't get the ball across, he wouldn't get a shot off. The same really with Stansfield. He had two shots. One he got a bit of oof behind. The other one, it was a pass back. Ineffective. Now those are the two of our players who we hope are going to create something. But on Saturday, they were all ineffective. Pritchard started the game wonderffully well, but was ineffective in the end. He didn't. It's not his fault there isn't a Djukovic there. He puts good crosses in, he puts good passes in, but we don't make the best of them. The one thing what we haven't mentioned is we're talking about taking Buchanan off. They did him in the first minute of the game, right in front on the halfway line. Woof! As his leg followed through, the bloke done him, right? And it took him a bit of time, and then to finish him off just before half time, they repeated the dose. So he was. I know he struggled on, but there was things like that going on that were annoying me. Come on, referee, you've seen what's happened there. They've done it to him twice, and nobody got booked for it. The one where their bloke should have been sent off. The referee's made a mistake because he let us get away with the same thing. Lynched, if he'd have sent Sunnish off, they'd have lynched him. So he thought to himself, well, I've made one mistake, I'll make up for it. Now, Sunnish should have gone off. But Sunnish is thinking, well, I can get away with anything because the referee ain't going to send their bloke off, he ain't going to send me off.
Yeah, it does concern me.
We had to take him off in the end.
Yeah, but Buchanan is one that concerns me. If he gets injured, we don't have anyone in the same street to go left back.
No.
Whereas if Laird gets injured, we got Drama. I know Drama's injured at the moment, but he's deputised for Laird really well at right back. And and don't get me wrong, Longello comes in and does his best, but he's just better going forward than defensively. And Buchanan's such an important player for us. But another thing that's concerned me as well, and I wasn't aware of this, Steve Portman has said that they were getting abused as well on the way out, and West Bromwich Albion and West Midlands Police are investigating into that as well. So have we heard about that?
Yeah.
Access being abused by
I've heard a bit about that. It's just not fair, just ridiculous for a football match.
Who was abusing who? Who was abusing you, Paul?
West Brom fans
Nobody was
abusing
abusing me.
Blues,
I'm talking about Accessi Blues on their way out. Some of our disabled supporters.
Oh, right. Okay.
I mean, let's be clear. This has got to go on at more than one ground every weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's quite rife. Horrible to say, but
it's a disgrace.
It's rife. It is, yeah. It's never gone away. It's never gone away.
No, nobody should ever have to come out of a football match and be abused by anybody.
No, that's right.
And nobody should go to do their job either and play for a football club and be abused either in any way.
Yeah.
The
thing is, we give the people the airtime. The more we talk about it, the more they get the airtime, and then they actually.
Spot on.
It sounds daft. You want to highlight the problem, but actually, it just brings it more to light, and then people think we've won. We've got her. We're going to do this again, and it'll get heard and heard and heard. It's happened at Coventry. It's happened at Birmingham. It probably happens, at Birmingham as well. You know, I can't say that you don't hear different things, because I think everybody hears comments that could be construed as being derogatory. But at the end of the day, it has to be stamped out. How they do it, I do not know, because you know you can't stop everybody. And let's face it, the West Brom fans will have heard it. You're right, Watto. They'd have heard it around them, but they're not going to be one of their own. It just doesn't happen, and it would happen at every single ground.
It would.
It does have to stop. How they do it, I just do not know. The one thing I can say is I encourage everybody to report it. There are mechanisms to report it. There are mechanisms to report racial slurs, sexist slurs. You know, the Her Game 2 website, use that if there are comments, of which there were comments on Sunday during the commentary that were just totally uncalled for and not needed.
Really?
And that came from their commentary team. You know, so
God.
yeah, that's been reported.
There's been a lot of reports on that. I've had so many people tell me how to report it. So
it was not only abusive; it was ignorant. They obviously knew nothing about us. I mean, the first comment was that our biggest weakness was down the flanks. Well, we got the best two fullbacks in the league. That ain't where we're weak. We're weak in the middle. And every time there was a foul, if it was an Albion foul, they're screaming our blokes are diving. And every time we foul them, then it's got to be a red card or if not a hanging at least. I mean, they were a bit dreadful. And as I say, it was ignorant. They said about the racist slurs. Oh, it can't possibly be happening. He must be wrong. You know, he's making a fuss over nothing and all this sort of business. Well, unless you're a black man in his position, you ain't got any right to say what he's thinking, feeling, or anything else. No. And he ain't likely to make it up, is he? I mean, goodness me, you got to have a bit of pride, surely, and start making things up about people is ridiculous. But that's what they were accusing him of. I mean, I was annoyed with our performance because, you know, I sat here and I thought, we're never going to score. We're never going to score. And of course, they get one clear-cut chance, and in he goes. And I'm thinking, here we go again. And then listening to this lot talking about it, you haven't put my blog out yet, but when you do, when you hear it, I watched it again myself afterwards, and I said, did I go over the top here? Because I was so annoyed, and it came across in what I said. You know, I was going to ring it up and say, perhaps you better edit that, but no, let it go. You know.
As far as I'm concerned, and this is how my mind works, and I think this is how everyone's mind should work. That let's say, for example, we're playing Norwich at home. You know, anybody wearing our colours on that pitch or in the stands is blue, and anybody, you know, wearing Norwich shirts and playing for Norwich is yellow, and that's it. That's the only colours in football, as far as I'm concerned. We're all you know, united together, supporting the same club.
Yeah, that's it.
But anyway, Mark Meredith, what have you been up to today? Then you had a bit of because you're acting all posh and professional. Let's go into work mode.
Not much, really. No, we actually got a couple of guys over from the Football Association in Ireland, a couple of coaches. So they were doing some coach education with our coaches here at the club, and then we're doing that was off the field in the office. We did some presentation work. So we're going to now go on the field tonight with some of our teams. So, you know, biggest thing for us is just trying to bring in different things to keep all our younger coaches obviously developing as well, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the more development off the field than we are on it, so we can just all keep learning. So yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting to see, and it's a European model coming here to the States. So obviously, it's people see different things, but it's something that we can keep on doing and keep building, and hopefully from there. So yeah, it's always enjoyable.
Yeah, and is there a path for progression for yourself? I mean, what's your ambition to eventually come back here and manage the Blues, or what?
Like to. I'm not sure if we can put up with you guys as fans, though. That's the problem.
That's right,
See what this show did to Rooney.
Something like that, mate. You might get abused. Yeah.
And Rove's a season ticket holder, so you're going to be.
Yeah, no. Obviously, you want to get better. I don't think I'd ever go as far as saying I'm going to be in the professional game. But you want to get better, and the fact that I always want to do something around Birmingham. I'm happy here in the States, but if that's something that we could link in with the club or something like that, then I would love to. But yeah, biggest thing for me is just keep developing myself away. I love the game, as you can tell, as a fan and a professional in what I'm doing. But you got to keep learning every day, disappointments and successes, and just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Some good comments coming in from people as well. Dan Nash must admit, love how it's so hard to get an away ticket now. Once they're out, they're gone.
They're gone.
That would be nice to see with the home games as well now. If we can get that at home as well, eventually. It's not going to happen.
Just on that, Paul. Sorry, Paul. Just on that, so talking about that, I thought the video that Wagner put out last week was great. Just to push on the Sunderland game. It's very professional and very much like he's a part. He knows what we want as a club. And I think that was I sat there and looked at it and just felt excited just from that interview.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and what they've done there is very good, isn't it? Really, really good. Again, Blues have failed in the final third. Everywhere else we competed. That's Ray Hobro. Any shot was like a pass. Need training on kicking the ball kicking the ball properly. That's Dave Twine. Very good point. When we get into those threatening positions, we just don't. It was the same at Leicester, wasn't it? It was more like there was just no venom in the shots at all, wasn't there, really? I like the way Dazal takes the ball from our defenders and takes it forward. That's Ray Hobro again. What else we got? Any more, Chris? You got any more there, mate?
I've just been reading a few, actually. Going back to the Albion ground, have you just read this one from Michael Woods?
No.
All right. Okay, reminding me of the Richard Sneaks game years ago. One chance we only had one chance.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. We battered them that day. Can't remember the year, but no doubt the panel will advise.
It was early in Trevor's reign.
97.
97. We give him a football lesson and 3 points. Unbelievable.
Yeah, good way of putting it. John McCarthy, he must have his 2 or 3 sitters that day. One-on-ones.
Yeah.
Matthew says, who do you think we've not seen? Why do you think we've not seen Dixon appear yet?
They clearly don't feel like he's ready, do they, for the first team yet?
Yeah.
The big jump up from
surprised. I'm surprised he never went out on loan then, to be honest. I think that would have been really, really good to get him down to League One or even League Two and just get him some games. If he's that good, get him out there, because the under 21s, 23s, whatever it is a lot different to the men's game. So I'm surprised they didn't go, do you want to go out on loan for 6 months? Then when you come back, let's see what you've done and build from there. Because everyone's calling for him. But it was nice to see the bench was a bit more stronger. I mean, we didn't have certain people there and certain people didn't come on. So we were all really happy.
Talk about Claire, come on.
Well, yeah, we know who I'm talking about.
Hey, Beyonce makes
Roberts
a great
never
steak
came on,
sandwich.
but Burke wasn't anywhere near it, and Roberts wasn't. So they're obviously the players that Mowbray was talking about. They've been given chance after chance. You haven't produced. So
Gary Gardner, another one. Gary Gardner's nowhere near. But they're going to have to get used. They're going to have to get used to that, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think Gary Gardner can live with his head held high though in the summer if he does go when he's. He's served us well. Yeah, definitely.
It's been a great servant.
Yeah, the other two obviously have only been here 5 minutes, but haven't really brought us a thing at all between them yet. But hopefully Roberts in particular, he can get better because he's ours, hasn't he? He signed like a 3 or 4 year contract, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So hopefully he can start to do some stuff for us.
Just on the game as well.
Go on, Mark.
Sorry, Claire. Just on the game as well. I think, having Everidge in goal, and he's not played obviously a lot for us over the last couple of years. I didn't feel worried about that. I thought he had a pretty decent game. Obviously there was a goal against him, which nothing he could do with it. But there wasn't any. I didn't go in as a fan panicking that we've got to put this kid in goal, and he's, our first team goalkeeper is injured and so on. So I think Everidge had a pretty steady game, and I think if, for instance, Ruddy is injured for the next 3 or 4 weeks, then we've got a real good replacement there.
I think so. Oh yeah, he's never really let us down massively at all, has he? When he's played, I don't think.
I never worry about Etheridge. I mean, he only lost his place because he was seriously ill, and we had to go and find another goalkeeper.
He was ill,
and it took him. I mean, the guy was near death, and it took him a year really to get back to being a professional goalkeeper again. He played a game after about 6 months, and he wasn't right. But yeah, he's back to his best now, and unfortunately, he's been replaced and can't get his place back. Now he's got a bit of a chance now. It'll put him in the shop window if we move him on at the end of the season. Yeah. He's still an international. He still gets called up for that. I agree with you. He shouldn't be a problem. The problem will be if he gets injured, then we're in trouble. Because we've only got he's 18. Is he the second keeper now?
That's when the emergency loan comes in. If Etheridge gets injured, then emergency loan comes in. Then we don't have any pro goalkeepers on the books that are fit. So
I suppose so. Yeah. To get back to Dixon, I'm talking to Claire now. I'm trying to look on a positive. If we'd have loaned him out and suddenly decided we need him, we couldn't have put him in because he's out of the. At least him staying here is mean if he suddenly has a burst of form or whatever, and we can't leave him out, then we can put him in. So that there's a bit of a positive there. I'd like to think, that the people. Well, we don't want him out on loan. We want him here in case he gets to the point where we say no, he is ready. And we can put him in then. That's just. I mean, I might be clutching at straws here a bit, but hopefully that's what they're thinking. Because we've got to find somebody. I thought Anderson has looked as positive as anybody else in that sort of second striker role. But again, he's how many games has he had? He has scored.
And on that one as well, Alan, if you look at it now, Anderson's obviously been told that he's not required to, so to speak. They were asking him to go out on transfer deadline day to Rotherham, and that was the fact that probably why we didn't bring in another player was because Anderson decided, no, I don't want to leave. And to be fair to Anderson, he said, listen, I want to try and fight for my spot. I know it's not guaranteed. I'll do all I can to do that, but it's also the coach saying to him, listen, you're not really 100% part of my plan, so if you do want to leave, you can. So, so it doesn't look like that's the choice for Mowbray right now. Maybe that'll change. I'm glad he didn't leave. I think he'll give us he's an extra. He's a good player for me. I think he's going to give us something between now and the end of the season. But it doesn't look like he's going to be the first choice to be thrown in at any point if the other people are fit.
No.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, I'm just. I mean, we've at Leicester and on Saturday, he was positive. He was aggressive. He's strong, and he knocks people over and whatever. Now, again, like all the others, he's not effective. He doesn't finish the job. And I
suppose that down to the fact he doesn't play though. And I guess this is what comes down to consistency in a team is then down to not swapping and changing your players every 5 minutes like we had under Rooney. We do seem to have an element of consistency under Mowbray, but I still firmly believe we are yet to see our strongest 11 on the field.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't done in a little while is the off the field and on the field ratings out of 10. Where we all at now? Claire, I'll start with you. Off the field and on the field. And this goes out to all our viewers. Yeah, it goes out to all our viewers.
Yeah,
as well.
I went really low with Rooney. I think we're about an 8.5. I think if we had a decent striker and took our chances, we'd be a solid 9. I think the way we play, we do move the ball a lot better. I mean, the possession we had on Saturday was where we wanted it to be. We just need to be more clinical, and I think they've still got a lot of work to do as in the pricing. So Sunderland is lovely, but if you don't know anyone who's gold and platinum, you don't get a free ticket for being part of the initiative. It's still £30. So it's still a lot. So it's a bit like, oh, so they can get it for a tenner, and I'm still paying £20 more, so 30. So I think they do need to re-look at the pricing, I think. So I'd probably give that probably a 7.5. I just think the pricing can be quite a lot. Get more people in.
Yeah, just bring back Kid for a quid. That used to work, didn't it, back in the day?
As a season ticket holder, I'd rather it be full. So at the moment, we pay for season ticket holders in the Tilton about £17 a game. So if you did adults for 20 quid, or if you did it like once in a while, like once every so often, where you got an adult for a tenner, bring the kid for £1, I'd rather it be full than like Blackburn's. Apparently, there's hardly anyone going again, and you need, you want the atmosphere and more people come in. The youngsters are the future. We don't get them in sooner rather than later, we won't have a future.
Sorry,
Paul. I was going to say, I'm the same as Claire. Most of us here are season ticket holders, and I don't begrudge anyone for having a cheap deal. As long as it's full. I don't mind.
Where are you at, Mark, with off the field and on the field now?
I think on the field, I'm probably a 7.5. Although I'm still excited about the future. And I think off the field, I'm probably an 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I can't. To be honest, Paul, I can't wait until summer.
No. I think that's going to be, it's going to be hopefully the best for a long time. But Alan, what's yours, mate? What are you?
I enjoyed the gaffer's speech about Sunderland and all the rest of it. But sitting on my shoulder is a little man saying, "But they gave a job to Wayne Rooney," and I can't get past that, to be honest.
Yeah. Was it hotter?
God bless them for everything they've done off the field, but they employed that man, and I cannot get to the bottom of it. You are intelligent, very successful businessmen. Yeah. Why did you make a decision like that? And that stops it being an 8 or 9, and it cuts it down to a 7. We've thrown away 35 points, 37 points. Just we threw 30. Half of that. Where would we be now? Goodness me.
Yeah. Good point coming in from Jason Hughes, actually. To give some perspective on prices, I pay £16 to watch Weymouth in the National League South. So everything's gone up, hasn't it? Everything. It doesn't matter what it is. So...
How much did you pay at Weymouth?
16 quid.
Yeah. Well, Hastings are a division below that. And they charge that. For seniors, it's 9 quid. Which is as much as I actually pay at Blues per game. Yes, football's not cheap anywhere. No. You really have to go down to the real low echelons where they charge you a £5 or whatever. Eastbourne are in the conference proper, and they charge 20. And they're rubbish. Rubbish.
Chris, what are you, mate?
Just going back to what Alan said regarding your appointment to Wayne Rooney, we have to remember these people that are in the hedge fund and Wagner, they're not footballing people. They have actually been advised by somebody, and I think that's really the person we should be aiming our problems at with Rooney.
Yeah, but we don't. There's no point looking back now, though.
No, that's right. That's right. It's all down to advice, isn't it? You know what I mean?
They made a mistake. Let's move on. They've made a good choice now.
Yeah.
So they've rectified it. They haven't let it go on and on and on like we did with Zola, have they? It's not gone on for ages and ages and ages. And Cottrell and all, they completely stunk the place out for too long as well.
Yeah, they've made a mistake, and let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just move forward. It's even got out of my mind, to be honest, that he was even here now.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Chris, what are you?
I'm probably I'm off the field. I'm probably on about an 8.5 maybe. On the field, probably about the same-ish. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's improved massively on the field, then, hasn't it? I'm getting engaging from this.
I think so, yeah.
Craig?
I think I'm about in the lines of 8.5 off the field. And I think 7.58 on the field at the moment. And, just going back as well on some of the comments that have come through on the board of what people are saying, and it's valid what they're saying. Ticket pricing, first of all, to Claire's point, is too high. People are saying, we look at the games that are upcoming, and yes, they've done something for Sunderland, but we've got a midweek game against Blackburn where actually I think the most expensive ticket price is £35.
Yeah.
It's half term. They've missed the trick.
Yeah.
Because there's one time you're going to get kids out late.
Yeah.
It's during the school holidays. So that should have been kids for a quid game and an opportunity. But also, there's a fair few others saying, great that they have rewarded those people that are going away from home and the platinum and gold members. There has been a question asked how much of that is down to the cock up over the West Brom tickets, which perhaps it was a little bit of a smoothener for what had happened. But I don't begrudge those people. They spend thousands of pounds, not just on tickets, but travelling. So I don't begrudge them anyway. What I do think they need to do is look at the whole supporter base. Because as a season ticket holder, I'd love nothing more than to bring another 3 people down to the ground at a reasonable price. And I'm sure we would all do it.
Yeah.
Also, one other point that people have raised is, yes, we made a mistake with Rooney, but they soon picked up the guts to sack him.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
And also, the last one that I'll shout out from the board, we made millions because of Rooney's name.
Yeah.
That part, we can't take away, and I wouldn't say anything else.
No. So, and last but not least, Mark Meredith, what's yours, mate?
Yeah, I think I'm still a 7.5 on the field. I'm certainly getting there. I think I love Mowbray. I love the style of stuff he's bringing in. I still think that actions speak louder than words, so to speak, as well. And we need those results. We're still only 4 points off the bottom. We need those results. We need to drag ourselves away from that as quickly as we can. But I think we will. That's where I'm at with that. Off the field, 8.5. I think they've done a great job of turning around what was a dreadful period for the club. Ticket wise, you hear about the city and the community being so important and whatever else. Now we have our own community department. People know very well. I worked in the department myself. They work in thousands of schools around Birmingham daily. You've got people like Claire who are school teachers and that sort of thing. Offer that half term, offer cheaper tickets to schools or to local grassroots football teams, because they're your supporters right there. They're the ones that love to play football because that's what they're doing it for. And you know what? If they're a quid, their dad will still pay 15, 20 quid to get in so he can take his 2 kids to the game. It's so much better spending 22 quid and taking 3 people and it's your dad or mom, whoever that's going to be, and the 2 kids, than them just spending 30 quid to take, on their own. And we all know, obviously, when you get to the game, it's not just 30 quid. It's food, it's programs, it's beers, maybe, it's whatever I know you choose to do that, but it's all a part of your match day experience. So it does become expensive, man. We're having the conversation right now. We're probably going to pay thousands of dollars for a World Cup ticket in 2026. There are people that do it because they want to be there, but there's not, you've got to look out at some point at your true supporters and where they're coming from, because the future is right in front of us at this grassroots level. Get these kids following them now, and again, it'll just continue to go for years.
Bill Mintz asked, Bill Mint's asking, how did we make millions out of Rooney's name?
Merch.
And
I was going to answer that.
I don't know. I didn't say it, but I don't know. I'm intrigued to know what the answer is.
So, to answer both Bill and Jake, first of all, Jake, he is shocked at the remark. We had additional income to the value, to my knowledge, of around £1.5 million to £2 million within a couple of weeks of Wayne Rooney being in the club through sponsorship, additional TV revenue, various things that came in because of his name. Now, I'm not advocating one little bit the appointment of him being there. However, if that £1.5 million or £2 million was enough to keep us within financial fair play, then we've done a good job from that front. It may cost us more money to have got rid of him and taken him out of his contract. However, he's brought that revenue in. His name alone probably brought a few people through the turnstile as well for that first game when he was back there.
Definitely.
So there's those things that all means.
Yeah.
And like I say, not condoning the appointment. He got to us all in the end. They made the decision to get rid, but he still brought money in. There's a couple of others as well. Steve Portman shouted out just to let everybody know. Sunderland game, right? So they've put out the video of Wagner, but there's also 5 incentives. Claire's mentioned one of them for the platinum and gold supporters, bringing people in at a reduced rate and a certain number. There are, Mark, great shout with the schools. So for Sunderland, there are 1,000 tickets that are being given away by the club to schools. Schools have just got to apply and see if they qualify for that criteria. There's also an incentive around grassroots football. So one of the third incentives on there is £90 for 3 adults and 15 kids. All right, that's a great offer.
It is.
The other one, obviously, is reducing the prices down. Still too high, but they have reduced the prices. So they're doing as much as they possibly can at the moment, I think, within the realms that they can to get people in. I do wish we could go back to the kids for quid, but I actually now begin to question how much of our pricing may be being dictated by the EFL and the FA themselves. I know from an FA Cup perspective, for example, they stated a minimum price. Now, people will say when you state a minimum price, you expect to be, given a good day and everything else. There's a lot of work still to do at St Andrews. Do I think we'll see a sellout at Sunderland? No. Do I think we'll be close? Yes. But the only way we can do it, and the only way that we can show these owners is to get people back down there. And to me, I go back to this midweek game against Blackburn, right? Do a ticket that was £50 for both of the games across that weekend and that Tuesday night, and kids maximum of a tenner. They'd have got 2, 3, if not 4,000 more people going down to the ground. So ticket pricing is definitely an area for discussion. And they are doing some things, but they can do more.
Does anybody think that maybe getting to buy a ticket is complicated for a lot of people? Does anybody else think that? I mean, like the old days, you could just turn up. Wouldn't it be great to have a section of the ground where you just turn up?
You can't just pay on the gate. You can't pay on the gate anymore, can you?
No.
You pay with your credit card.
Well, you can just turn up at the turnstile and pay with your credit card.
No, you can't. You can't. But you should be able to. You should be able to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can understand them not wanting cash.
Yeah.
I can.
I've noticed a good question from Lilypad Chris a while ago, and just for a bit of fun, this is as well. And I like stuff like this, as we all know.
Yeah, it's a good question.
If we could all play for Blues, what position would we play and why? And also, what manager, if any, would you not play under and why? I'll go first. I'd obviously want to play up front because I want that euphoria of scoring a goal in front of the Tilton.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to play for Steve Cottrell because he'd probably put me on the left wing if I was a striker.
Who would you want to play for? Just adding to that question, Paul. If there was one manager that you've seen, who would you want to play for?
I would say out of everyone I've seen. Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it? But I'd have to say Prime Brucey was pretty special, weren't he, in his early 40s when he first came? That first sort of 2 or 3 years, you know, he was signing players that you'd never even dream of seeing in our colours, wasn't he? The likes of Forsell and Heskey and, you know, all these great players that we signed. Because Heskey was a great player, when even though he got a lot of stick at the time, he was.
He ran his whatsits off for us, didn't he? He worked hard.
He did. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one for me between, it'd definitely be either Trevor, Bruce or McLeish, but I mean, Trevor as well. I would imagine Trevor was probably good to play for as well, being such a great player himself as well. And we know, obviously, great players don't always make great managers, as we've experienced as well. But if I had to pick one, I'd go for Brucey.
Just a word about Heskey. His goals per game for us was his best in his career.
Yeah,
I liked him. Yeah. I really liked him.
Yeah. Go on, Claire, give us your answer. What position would you want to play in, and who wouldn't you want to play for, and who would be the manager you would play for?
I think because I used to play like centre back or like defensive midfield, I like to do that. I like to let everybody else have a go and just might get my head on it. You do what I mean?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't I want to play for? Probably Rooney, because just with his past experience with women. My mum wouldn't be allowed to be near the training ground, would she? Probably after her. Sorry, Mum. Who I would want to play for is probably Bruce. Probably, I think Bruce or Trevor, because they were like the prime. They were really, like when I was growing up, and I would like to play next to like Darren Pearce or someone like that. I think that'd be wicked.
Good shout, yeah. I wouldn't have minded playing in the Championship under Chris Hughton that season either, or Gary Monk that season as well.
Yeah, that'd be enjoyable.
Play up front with Marlon King or play up front with Shay Adams would have been good that season, wouldn't it? Them 2 particular seasons, since in the last sort of 10 or 12 years, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Mark Meredith, what would you say?
Centre back. I'd have to be Claire's partner, so she knew what to do there at the back and. Carry her a little bit. You
doesn't know anything about football now, Mark. That's terrible.
I always think quite good at it. I'll do it, and you can do all the other stuff.
To be fair, that's where I would have played growing up anyway. So centre back would have been that. I was always Brucey was one of my favourites when I was growing up. I loved the hustle and bustle of heading the ball out and kick. Obviously, the game's changed a lot now, but then it was get the ball as far as you could or head the ball as far as you could, and that was it. I'd say Rooney right now for not, and I'd say John Eustace for, and that's big on me because I'm the type of person and player that would need the arm around the shoulder a little bit, you know, good and bad, to tell me obviously what I needed to do and to have that push. And from what I see from the outside, Eustace was very good man management and got the team together and the whole camaraderie that way, and then Rooney was very poor at that, and then same players lost all their confidence, and so that's really the reasons why I would choose those 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Craig.
It seems a bit repetitive, this does, but I know when I played, I was a centre half, so I'd love to.
Arsenal,
Go free centre half.
Yeah, why not?
I refuse to play up front.
The one thing I would say is, though, I'd like to have played alongside Liam Daish, because that guy he'd head a brick wall, let alone the balls, you know what I mean? So, love to have played alongside him. In terms of managers, Cottrell. Just no man management skills, no tactician whatsoever. So I'd never have played under him. Played forward is quite a toughie, actually, because I'd like to roll 3 people together. Because for me, it would be Bruce, because of what you could learn from a defensive side of things. But I'd have Hughton, because I think tactically and what he did with the team when he was there was just brilliant. But for passion, Lee Clark.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, if you could roll those 3 things together, you're going to have a great manager. It's a great question though, Lillipad. It really does get you thinking.
Yeah.
We've got a really strong defence. We just need some players around us now. Any goalies?
Okay.
Right, go on, Watso. What about you?
Well, I was a fullback, and
so was me.
as a school kid, my hero was Terry Cooper. Although I played more right back than left, that's the style I wanted to play in. So Terry Cooper would definitely be up there, and the other one would be Gary Rowett, who was just a very, very, very good defender at right back and at centre half.
Did anybody see him play darts on Sky Sports?
Yeah.
Gary
Pardon?
Rowett? Did anybody see Gary playing darts?
No.
You see, he got what? He got 140. Then he got over 280. Then he with 9 darts.
No.
He was such a steady hand. It was. I tell you, he could turn to that game.
He's
really
one of them,
could
and
play that.
Rowett's one of them, and he's just good at everything.
Yeah.
No matter what he does, he's good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you, mate. Carry
But
on.
I would want Gary Rowett as my mentor and instructor, and Terry Cooper as my inspiration.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah, and what about the manager you wouldn't play for?
Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
I knew you was going to say that. Rob?
In fact, I'd probably have hit him before we got to the first training session.
Go on, Rob.
I'm like you, Paul. I'd love to score in front of Tilton on a Monday night. On a Monday night on Sky, playing down up the road. Get the ball comes across, chest it down, and then got someone on my right calling for it. I'll turn, I'll spin, I'll smack it in. Sorry, I get carried away.
Calm down.
You dreamed about that one.
No, in my look, though, if I'd actually did it, if it would have happened in my life, it would have been during probably the lockdowns when there was nobody there.
There's one thing as well, Mr. Adams. You couldn't possibly have had a person next to you to pay on the ball because you've got no friends.
Yeah, there is
Apart
that.
from that,
Go on,
I'd love to score in front of Tilton, and I think my manager. I think I'd love to play under Francis because he was Mr. Blues. You know, to play under a blow like that. But like you said, I mean, Brucey, McLeish. I think they'd all be good managers. Even Mowbray. You know, it's a hard choice. I'd hate to. I'm like everyone else, so I'd hate to play under Rooney.
Yeah,
I think if I played, I'd probably tell him what I thought of him. To be fair.
Nobody's mentioned Barry Fry as the manager.
That was mine. You didn't come to me.
Oh, is it? Okay, we'll come to that then.
Browne.
So mine was Barry Fry. I'd like to have played under Barry Fry just for the fun of it, you know what I mean. But I'd like to have been like a left right back in late 60s, early 70s, where you could hang around the goalposts and have a fag and stuff and have a chat with the crowd and that, like a crunching left back. That'd be me.
Yeah, Chris, at work today in one of our depots, we've got a guy called Kevin and a guy called Francis.
Right.
And I sent an email to both of them. So I put like, "Hi Kevin, / Francis." and that made me smile. You could play up front next to Big Kev, couldn't you, Chris, for Barry Fry?
Oh, you could play anywhere with Barry Fry. I mean, anybody could have played.
And what position would you play?
I'd probably go left back.
Yeah,
That's Alan's.
Yeah, left back. A crunching left back. Anybody comes near me, just take him down. Take him out.
Is that what you played when you played?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what about the manager?
Sorry,
What about the manager you wouldn't play for?
Probably B. Cottrell. Yeah, Cottrell.
Yeah.
Or Rooney.
Yeah,
both of them.
Yeah. Okay.
I've just got to read out. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've got to read out Nigel Mann's comment here. He's just being realistic on the board, and he's saying, "Mark Adams, you should be left back in the changing room. # no mates."
He's got a mate now, Robe. We got famous over the weekend, so you got me now.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a
Personal pal.
cracking picture that was.
No, she just feels.
I'll set the direct debit up. So
You're the new Philip Ollie. I've been binned off, Mark, but for you.
I'll stand next to me for a game, Paul. If you can cope with me for 90 minutes at the Blues, that's it, your friends.
And Lilypad, who asked the question, has actually said herself that she'd play as a centre forward under Barry Fry. Definitely wouldn't want to play under Cottrell or that thing from down the road as manager.
can I ask a question? And throw it out to viewers as well. If we were playing for Blues and we couldn't play at St Andrews, what away ground would you like to play at?
Villa Park.
Villa Park, yeah. I want to score a hat-trick in front of the Old End.
I just wanted to mention that I actually did have a shot at the Tilton when I played for Birmingham Boys, which just missed. And I also had a shot at the Holt End when I played in the cup final at Villa Park, which just skimmed the crossbar.
Imagine the fame.
That's as close as I got.
Imagine saying that you scored.
School report for Watto, must try harder.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sounds like one of our strikers.
Yeah. I played in something called Bring Your Boots about 6 years ago, 2 years on the trot, and in the first time I played, I got a pre-assist. I actually played it to one player who passed it to the guy who scored. So that's
pre-assist. When did that come around?
I just invented it, Claire, because I did it at the Blues.
I just remember last time you invented something, it suddenly got around, bounce back ability,
and funbelievable.
Unbelievable.
All right, can I ask another question then?
On,
I'm on a roll here. All right, if you could play against an opposition player and swap shirts with that player, who would it be?
Oh, I've got a counter question to that.
Just in the game today, in the modern game, if you could play against any opposition player and they swap shirts with you, who would you swap with?
Today.
Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right.
They didn't play now.
No, it's from today.
Come on, wake up.
Are you on about now or modern football?
No.
I'll say it again for the third time, Courtney. If you could play with someone...
Lionel Messi.
Yeah, good shout, Mark.
Bellingham.
I'm saying Jude as well, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe Claire didn't go for Ethan Laird. That's a chance to get his shirt off.
Well, he looked straight at me, didn't he, Mark, the other day? And I just went, mwah. I just want his shirt or a video or something. I'm turning into Mark. See, 90 minutes, and I'm being like, please get me something.
Just to reverse that question, who wouldn't you swap a shirt with?
Any Vile player.
Any of them, right?
Yeah, any of them from around the corner.
Yeah.
Let's kill that.
I would love to play against a Bungahaw, but I certainly wouldn't want his shirt. He wouldn't have one when the game finished anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got anything lined up, Craig? Any squad game or anything?
No, do you know, I haven't done a squad game for today. But
one job is
if you give me 5, I'll do it for you just today. But whilst I'm looking for squad game, we'll talk about the ladies. So unfortunately, we ended that winning streak yesterday with a disappointing result at Watford. But I'm sure it's one of those ones when everybody's like looking and thinking, "Oh, panic stations, 5th in the league, we're not going to do anything." But actually, I look at the positives here. We've got a game in hand against Reading, who are a team that are really, really, really struggling, and I would desperately hope we would get a result against.
Reading won yesterday.
They did, but they're still struggling. And also, we have...
So are Watford.
Still to play.
Watford was bottom of the league.
But there's we've still got these big teams to come to St Andrews. We've still got them to play, and next game of St Andrews is against Southampton on the 18th of February, and again we can do well against these teams and we can take it forwards in the league. And I still believe that we can win this league at the end of it. We've got a squad that's just gelling. Everybody has a down day. I know, unfortunately, we had one yesterday, but still believe we can do it. And there's still back this team and let's get as many people as possible down to St Andrews to support them. It's both sides of the game. Birmingham, as a men's team, are going to keep ourselves in the Championship. There's the positive. Now let's back these ladies back into the Women's Premier League. Hopefully as well, we're still working on getting Darren and a few of the ladies onto the show so that we can talk more around what they do and how things go. But there's some real positives, really good things. Nice to see Keris Harrop actually as the co-commentator for Saturday's game as well. So the ladies' game's on the up, and we can do more, as we've seen with the men's that weekend as well. There are offers to get down to the women's game. So, and don't forget, the season ticket holders, you get a free ticket. We get tickets through the show. So please, if people want to go, let us know. And also at this point, got the Aussie tickets. All right, we've got an adult and a child in the Arthurs area. So if you know anybody that can't get down there but would love to go, let us know, and we can make sure that if they are available, we can get them a ticket, because we want to support them, and so do the people over in Oz.
Michael Woods has just mentioned the 26th of February at so-called studios as well in Acots Green. We're doing a live event there, and tickets are selling, I believe, are they, Chris? Yeah.
They're more than halfway.
Are on sale.
Yeah. There's still a few tickets left, but yes, there will be participation, audience participation. Yeah, we'll have an arcade in the audience, so you can join in.
That's good.
All looking good.
Stuff.
All looking good.
Lilypad's got my brain going now. I want to play from the last 4 decades. So 90s, 2000s, 2000, actually, let's do 5, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. So I want the best player from each decade that you're going to pick.
A blues player, obviously, yeah.
God, that's tough days.
One player from each decade, yeah.
I wasn't alive in the 80s.
So you can do 3, Claire.
I was only 4 in the 80s.
Anybody younger, give me as many as you can that you can remember from it. You're only allowed 1 player from each decade.
Okay.
Can I go first then?
Yeah, go for it.
90s. Oh, this is when I get it all wrong, isn't it? I'm just trying. I would say Brian Hughes.
Yeah, signed in 1996.
That was my 90s one.
2000s, I would say I loved like AJ.
Yeah, okay.
Andrew Johnson. He was my favourite.
Yeah.
2010, 2020. Ooh, it's toughy, that one is, you know.
You got the League Cup winning team, ain't you?
Yeah. I would reckon. Ooh, Zigic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good player. And now, well, we haven't had many, have we? Probably Jude.
Yeah, that's a good shout, Jude. Yeah,
Right,
he'd be the player that's played for us in the 20s, definitely. I would go 90s. I mean, Stanley's already signed in 1999, didn't he? So would that be classed as 90s, or have you got to play a bit more than that? I mean, Mark Ward, Steve Claridge. There's some great players in the 90s.
Yeah,
but
that's great.
if I had to pick one, I'll go for Stan from 1999, and then in the 2000s, it's got to be Gary, innit? He was just incredible for 6 months. And I know he hasn't got the longevity there as the likes of, you know, your Damian Johnsons and players like that, and Mike Taylor's in those days. But he was just special, wasn't he? Gary was unbelievable. And Forsell deserves a mention there as well. So I'll go for Gary. In the 2010s, I'll go Seb Larson. And then in the 20s, I think it's hard not to say Djukovic, but yeah, I'd agree with Jude, Claire. I'd agree with you on Jude. Go on then, let's go around the room.
I'll give you one from the 80s, Julian Dix.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this is my fullbacker coming out again. The 90s, Gary Revis.
Yeah, good player.
10s, Barry Ferguson.
Yeah, good shot.
And what have we got next? The 20s, Jude, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 4 videos of him playing, and I watch. When I've got nothing else to do, I just watch him again. I watched that goal against Charlton, which I was there for, and I just purr every time I see it. The whole thing's just beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. In the 80s, I caught obviously the mid to late 80s, and I would probably go from what I saw in the 80s. Was Nigel Gleghorn playing in the late 80s, or was it more?
Yeah.
88. Yeah. So I'll go with Nigel Gleghorn in the 80s. From what I saw. Yeah. I like Simon Sturridge a lot as well. He was good, wasn't
he? Yeah. Sturridge is mine.
Yeah. What about you, Mark Meredith?
I think Sturridge for sure. 80s, late 80s, 90s. I'm going to say Steve Bruce. I know he didn't play for too long, but again, Brucey came from. He was one of my heroes growing up anyway, and came from United's captain to where he was. So Brucey, it's definitely Brian Hughes there as well. There's a little load, isn't there? Devs for sure. Yeah. Jeff Horsfield then in the 2000s. I thought Horse was great. Like obviously Christoph, but Horst was just one of those. Christoph was amazing, but only on the loan period, where Horst was one of us for a while.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, yeah.
And then probably, obviously, you're going to have to go Jude then. Again, Jude wasn't there too long, but so it's a difficult one. But it was just, what he's done for the club is I think, has to be chosen.
Yeah, what about Pens?
That's a tough one as well. I liked Fabrice. Liked Gary McSheffrey for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, they were more late double O's though, weren't they? 06, 07, more around that time.
Yeah.
So 2010 to 2019, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's tough.
Cheers.
All right, come back to that one. I'll copy someone else later.
Have we had everyone's now? Sorry. Yeah, we had
80s, Gleghorn. You know, and that goes into the early 90s as well, actually, you know, across that one.
Yeah.
The lights, you know, yeah. I think it really is tough. I'd probably say Steve Bruce actually into that time. Into the 2000s. There was one player that for me was massively underrated by a lot of people, but was phenomenal for our club, and that was Kenny Cunningham.
Oh yeah, what a player! Jake Birmingham, Folorunzo Akenla for the 80s, Miguel de Souza for the 90s. You mate Bonks just come up again as well, Robe. Arek Bonk for the
I said that last week.
Yeah, I know you did.
Back.
Ferdinand Coley and Bernard's son.
Great team, great five-a-side.
Sorry, Craig, carry on.
No, I was going to say the 10s. I am really struggling with the 10s to think of just one person that stood out. The now, I'm like, Jude, yes, everybody can say Jude, but Djukovic, he's just been solid for the club, and you know he wears his heart on the sleeve, and he'll just be remembered as forever Birmingham City. So I think for me, I'd put him in there. I'm still struggling with the 10s. You know, who would be best.
Another couple of my favourites in the 90s, Louis Donowa and Jonathan Hunt as well.
Yeah.
Jonathan Hunt, class, weren't he?
Hunt was on a par with Hughesy, wasn't he?
We were sport with flair players in that time, weren't we? We had Jonathan Hunt and then we had Browne Hughes, didn't we? One after the other. Right.
Very similar players, Paul, weren't they?
What was Forsell? What decade was Forsell in? Was he in 10s?
2000s.
2000s.
Yeah, 2003 Forsell signed on loan originally, and then we signed him, didn't we, after that?
Yeah. Mind the 2010s, Craig, you could have Stephen Carr.
Well, I was going to say, nice little segue, but actually, Stephen Carr, thinking about it, probably would be my 2010s, but a nice little segue into the fact he will be joining us on next week's show, so it's going to be a great one. And, you know, for those that haven't seen, we've got some great people coming up over the next few weeks. So Stephen Carr next week, followed the week after by another captain in Michael Morrison. We then do our live show, and we're then followed by our third captain of the trio in terms of Harley Dean joining us at the beginning of March as well. So we've got some great guests over the next few weeks.
Chris, do you want to go?
So in that order, so I'll probably go for Hoppy in the 80s, I think, just for his...
Oh, yeah, good shout,
just for his passion for the Blues, really.
He could play a bit, though, couldn't he, as well?
Oh, yeah. He signed for Man City, didn't he? Yeah. No, he was a good player. Probably Browne Hughes, De Gary. I'm stuck in. I'll probably go Carr in the 10s, and to keep along with everybody else, I'll go for Jude as well.
Yeah. Nice little game that was. Does that give you enough time to get squad game together now?
I have actually got a squad game, yes, and it is. So we're talking the 2006-2007 season. So Steve Bruce was our manager during that time, and we were promoted as second from the Championship. So should be plenty of names that we can think of as we go through this. But what I'm after is squad number 8 to start off with, and then I'm looking at squad number 14, and finally, I want to end on squad number 29.
Okay, I think I know who 8 was.
I think there was 2 8s.
Yeah. Was it Andy Cole was one, wasn't it?
Andy Cole was one of the 8s.
David Dunn the other one.
Yeah, so you've killed the number 8s. Thanks, lads.
Quick
Oh,
guy.
yes.
14 was
Was
DJ
29
Campbell.
McSheffrey? Was he another one?
He was 17,
29
wasn't he?
wasn't McSheffrey.
Was he
no.
17?
14 was
wasn't
DJ
17
Campbell.
either. 17 was Neil Dans.
Well, it sounds like McSheffrey in my book.
14, did you say, Mark, then, yeah?
DJ Campbell, 14.
It was indeed.
You want the 29 as well?
Oh, this is really bad. You know the 29 as well, don't you? So keep it quiet for a bit. Let's give it to everybody else.
I worked for the club at that year. I'm sorry. I was the kid man.
Well, I'm going to say, were you the kid?
Well, at which point, I'm going to also ask you for number 23 and 19, if you worked for the club at that time. There's a challenge for you.
Did I do 29 first?
Yeah.
29 was Adam Ledwings, the goalkeeper.
It was indeed.
19 was Peter Till, my buddy.
Give you that one. Who was 23?
Matthew Burley.
Oh, Jesus, you got that as well? I am impressed
Couldn't
with
be
your
bad, him.
knowledge this time around. Look,
That was a good year for me.
You've upset Paul that much that he's dropped off
I
as
know.
well.
He's asking to come back in. Shall we let him in or what?
No.
Can I just do a quick shout out? Because I met Richard the other day at the West Brom game, so it was lovely to meet you, and thanks for the support you give us on the show. I don't know. You just went high on Richard.
One job. He was scared of Mark. That's why he just said, "Oh, Richard, yeah, there we go."
Have we got all them numbers? Because I've got to cut off.
Yeah,
We did
Mark got them all.
scarily and
Mark got them
more.
all.
Yeah.
As soon as I mentioned Andy Cole, I got binned off.
Mark did the printing for the shirts. That's why I know.
Yeah, I was the kid man that year.
Yeah.
Who were they then? So you've got Andy Cole 8 and David Dunn, and then 14 was that DJ Campbell? Was that right?
Was indeed.
Yeah.
And 29 was 29.
Adam Lenskins.
Okay.
Who
So that's
was
what
19?
game then? So that was squad
That was
game.
one
Then?
game.
The end of that then.
That was it.
Oh, just a little question to everybody. Thoughts on the transfer window and how things went. So we had 3 in. A few youngsters going out. I think the last day we could have seen more in terms of outgoings, but they didn't materialise. But yeah, what's the panel's thoughts on how things went and what we did do?
It was quite a day.
Let's start with you.
It was a quiet day, wasn't it? All in all, on transfer deadline day, we all do it, don't we? We all stay up till 11:30, hoping that it's going to come across the bottom that we signed Lionel Messi. But
We didn't.
Josh Andrews. No, we didn't, Chris. Unfortunately, I love the way they big it. I love the way they big it up on Sky Sports as well. And then some bloke's gone to Swindon, like in yellow, in like massive text on the side of the screen.
Yeah.
As though it's massive news, because that's the only thing that's going on, really.
Yeah.
But Josh Andrews went, didn't he? Where did Josh Andrews go? Remind me.
Was it Gillingham?
Was it on a permanent? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the best to him. Then I was hoping at one point he was going to be, because I've only seen AJ that's been involved in our academy as a striker, really, that's come in and been any good as a striker. In all these years. I think the last one before that was probably Trevor, weren't it? Mind you, Simon Sturridge as well was good as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, Sturridge and Sturridge.
But there isn't many, bro. Am I missing anyone?
I think so.
What about Wayne Clark? What about Wayne Clark?
Who's the guy that went off to America? Mark?
Mark Meredith.
Yeah, I was right. I sent back though.
No, the intelligent one.
Gordon.
Went off to Texas. Who's gone off to Texas? What player's gone off to Texas?
Gordon.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, no, yeah.
Sorry, we digress anyway. So that's my answer anyway. A quiet day overall, but yeah, I think the players that we've signed will improve the squad. And I don't know a lot about the South Korean player, you know, but from what you've said so far, obviously Dazal had a decent game on Saturday as well, and Pritchard as well. So yeah, hopefully they'll strengthen us and we can start to climb up the table.
I have to say it was uninspiring. Solid, but I'm not criticising any of the signings. No. Don't know enough about them yet, but you know, without a striker, you could get Lionel Messi in our midfield, and he wouldn't find somebody to score a goal. And that's, I mean, I understand why we didn't, and all the rest of it, but you know, I like you sat there I didn't stay up till 11:30 watching it, but during most of the afternoon I'm sitting there thinking, come on, just pull a rabbit out the hat, you know, somebody. I'd have accepted Lyle Taylor, you know, anybody who can score. I mean, Lyle Taylor's playing for Cambridge now, I think.
Cambridge, yeah.
Cambridge,
but just somebody, you know. Thinking about it, I'd have accepted Josh Andrews, you know, because he always looked like he was going to be the replacement for Dukey, wasn't he? You know, the big lad, and he scored goals, good with his head, always did well. When he went on loan, he always did well, scored goals, and came back to us and nothing, and he got sent out again somewhere else and did okay again. It's one of those.
Do we think the team? Do we think the squad now is better? Claire, question to you actually. Do you think the squad now is better than what it was this time last year with the likes of Trusty, Hannibal, and Chong, etc.?
I think that's a tough one, really. I think Trusty, Hannibal, and they had a bit more experience within the league. I think I was quite happy with the window. I think it was a lot more than we thought. If you've got Pritchard for 100,000, you've got Sunko for free, Dazal on loan, we kept JJ, we kept Stansfield. The only thing is that we didn't get rid of some of the high earners, but you're not going to with their contracts out at the end of the season. So I think that they've played it really, really well. If you had said to me, we're bringing in so many players, I would have been happy. I think a striker was needed, but again, hopefully we've got enough. Even with Hogan being on the bench, I thought actually for Mowbray's first game, Hogan wasn't that bad because he will still run for you. And I was surprised he didn't come on against West Brom. I think, Robe, you said, you know, if he came on, he scored a hat-trick there last season.
Yeah, it's a mental
you
thing,
might get something. And I think, you know, you could have put Jay on the right. I just thought when he did bring on all these players, the midfield seemed to get really, really congested. It was like that they were fighting for space for each other, which hopefully we'll see a difference. But yeah, I think they're all different players, aren't they? I think Trusty brought a lot of experience. Hannibal did as well. Chong did. I just think that we've got to give them time to settle in. And, you know, I mean, Sheffield Wednesday play tomorrow or Wednesday. So we've had longer. So we'll see what happens. But I think we've had a good window. But goalkeeper, yes, we might need them. But apparently Ruddy's going to be back sooner, I've heard.
Right.
So Etheridge just needs to work on his distribution because he threw the one ball to Laird and he knocked him out. He was so high up. You know what I mean? And then he threw it. He hit Laird's head and Laird was just like, oh, okay then. But I just
Did you shout out Claire?
Laird was looking at Claire. That was the problem. He didn't see the ball.
Yeah, I'd give him a hand up.
Yeah, we had a good comment coming from Nigel Mann there. He's just said that, let's face it, we have a better manager and better owners. What more can we ask for than what we had this time last year? Which is fair point. You can't argue with that, can you?
Yeah.
I think, Paul, I think the three players we brought in are going to strengthen the squad. I just think it's three midfield players. And if you look at our midfield players that we have in the club, we've probably got enough midfielders now to actually put a team out. With JJ and Bakuna and Bellick and Sunic and, the three that just brought in, and then George Hall to come back. And so it would have been nice to try maybe a centre-back or a striker just in the mix.
Yeah.
But, I think under his thoughts is that if he moves Bellick back to centre-back, then he brings Dazal in to take Bellic's position. He wasn't 100% sure on JJ. That was the reason why Pritchard or the South Korean came in. And then again, Pritchard, when he's fit, I think can play in that 10 just behind Stansfield and be that extra striker that may score goals. So I think he's got a definite idea of what the three were going to do. We just, as fans, we just want, like you say, we just want the Lionel Messi striker in. And that's not, we have to be realistic enough to the three signings that we made are at the level that we need to be right now. I think Pritchard's a big steal. I really do. And then the others are, they'll do a job.
Man's made a great comment. He said it's actually for the first time in a long time, we've got creditable options on the bench and we can switch it up, which I think is a fair comment.
That's true.
Not as strong as we would like, but we can swap things about now.
Yeah, no, you have to have a bit of strength in depth, because we have been, in all my life watching the Blues, really, we've been roiled, by injuries, haven't we? We always have injuries, don't we, at Blues? It's always the same, and you do need quality players to come in and replace them, just so that you don't miss them as much. And dare I say it, Claire, you're probably going to pull me up on this, but we Laird's the best right back we've got. Don't get me wrong, but I thought Drama really did cover him well, didn't he, when he played?
I think Drama is an overall player, isn't he? He can play on the left, he can play in the middle. I would definitely sign him. Out of probably all the people on loan, he would be, he can play anywhere. Even if you put him up front, he'll probably still do a job for you. So I think he would be one that you would go for. Yeah. But hopefully he's back sooner rather than later, because I think we did need him, especially, with Buchanan and that. But would you drop Long for Sanderson? I think we do need Sanderson back in there for a bit of pace, I think. Billick and Sanderson together would be probably the main thing.
Yeah. Any more questions coming in for us, Chris, or good comments?
There's quite a few, but I think we need to move to predictions, don't we, as well?
Okay, yeah. I'll start us off then. I'll go for 3-1 Blues on Friday night. Craig?
I'm going to go 2-1 Blues Friday night.
Mark Meredith?
Nasty little 1-0 away.
Nice. Claire?
Well, I'm hoping, because I'm literally flying there from work, I see a 3-0 win, so we'll see.
Robe?
I'm going to say 2-1 as well. 2-1 Blues.
Okay. Watto?
2-0.
2-0. Chris?
Got to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Got to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah. I don't think Wednesday will score at all. Yeah, I'm probably going for I'll go for a 3-0.
Nice one. I hope you're right.
A lot of people on the message board are going for 2-0s. We've got Mandy Irvine says that it'll be Blues winning 2-1. Nigel Mann reckons, unfortunately, it's going to be a board draw. Trevor Malloy said Blues 4-2. Steve Kimberley says 2-0 Blues. Scarily, Chris, there's a lot of people saying they want it to be 6-0 and for you to present the show naked at the live show.
I'm ready.
Oh.
Thong and Bucket are ready.
But there's a lot of people also saying that if that happens, they want a refund.
If you wear a thong, our special guest will have to be Chong, so we've got Thong and Chong.
And he won't be wrong.
We just need a
Ray Hobro, we say 1-0 Blues for Stansfield to score. Jake Birmingham says 5-1 Blues. Michael Woods a cheeky 1-0. And Paul Lilly finally Blues to win 4-1.
Wow. Well, there we go. Crikey, that's
it's a must win. That's as simple as that. I don't care if it comes off someone's ankle, an own goal. It's a dodgy decision. We have to win on Friday.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we need that. We need that springboard now, don't we? Because I think Mowbray's good enough and the squad's good enough as well. To go and win like 3 or 4 games on the trot. They can do it, I think. Start to climb up the table a bit. Because I'm sick to death finishing 17th or below. We've got to finish higher than 17th. If anyone at the club's listening, make sure we finish above 17th this season, because that's progress.
It's getting boring.
It really is.
Well, there we go.
Any more questions for us, Chris?
I think
comments?
we've gone over time, so I think that's it. Paul?
Yeah, is that the end? We're wrapping up then. Okay, so we're
wrapping up.
So we've been the Tilton Talk Show yet again, and it's good night from me, Paul Hipkiss. Thank you everyone for watching, and it's also a good night from Mark Meredith at work in Dallas, in America, looking very serious.
Good night from me, and it's a good night. Never serious. Good night from Robe.
Yes, good night from me, and it's good night from Claire Giblin.
Good night from me. See you on Friday, and it's a good night from Craig.
And it's a good night from me. Good night from the chairman.
And it's a good night from me and a good night from Chris. Why am I always last but one?
Have you not noticed we go in age
I have
order?
to work out who hasn't been. Good night, Chris.
And it's a good night from me. Good night.
See you brighter.
Hi, John Boy. Mark, have you got any friends yet?
Working on it. I've got one. Haven't I, Claire?
No, she feels sorry for you.
I'm going to have to find him.
Got a date before the Sunderland game. Sets it up.
Yeah, who's buying the drink from?
My friend is.
The two bacon.
I'm going to buy a new shirt as well. And cologne.
Buy a friend as well.
Good night to small affordable cars.
Yes. And sponsors.
When you get a friend, what do you have to do? Like,
An application, mate.
You'll never find out.
Mark, you save a fortune. I'd save a fortune if I had no friends.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah, no.
Popular.
Claire, did you understand my message, by the way?
Which one? There was lots.
I suddenly realised that you were born 10 years after this, but I was watching the 72